Here's a question for you. What comes to your mind when you hear the word art? Yeah, we're gonna plunge right into this. Do you think of Da Vinci, Monet, Van Gogh? Or do you think of the fan artists that thrive on Tumblr and DeviantArt? In either case, you wouldn't technically be wrong. Hi there, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name, for all intents and purposes, is Smoke and Ash, and I'm here to talk to you about video games and art. Or, more specifically, video games as art. The true definition of what art is and is not has become increasingly blurred over time. This is in part due to technologies that have advanced since art has been around, and I don't just mean incredibly recent technologies like the internet and Photoshop. When the title of art was initially established, it was hard to come by art pieces since material was expensive and scarce and incredibly difficult to create, since, for a time, there were very strict standards an artist had to follow in order to be accepted into the society of high art. The spread of art became easier with the introduction of printmaking and other things, which was pretty much the typewriter of the art world. However, standards were still pretty high, and even the easily shared art wasn't always considered, well, art. It really depended on the perspectives of the higher art people of the time. For instance, this piece wouldn't have been considered art for a museum because it was too romantic and focused on being visually pleasing instead of looking like this, which was meant to be more logical and focus on accuracy of depiction. To me, they both look pretty friggin' amazing. I mean, dang. But that's the point. Over time, both pieces were obviously considered to be higher art and gained recognition from the art society as such. So what really made them art? Was it time? Was it just a change in perspective? Was it both? That brings us to the central focus of this video. Is video gaming art? Actually, that's a lie. The answer to that question is, it can be yes. The actual focus of this video is, what makes a video game art? And that is a very difficult question to answer, my friends. You see, art is incredibly subjective, especially when the passage of time comes into play. For instance, the Museum of Modern Art recently displayed a series of video games as a collection of art. So, if being placed in one of the most renowned art museums qualifies as being a piece of art, then all of those games, including Pac-Man, Tetris, The Sims, Portal, and EVE Online, including a bunch of other ones, are technically art. But is that the only thing that should qualify something as art? I mean, Duchamp putting a toilet in a museum kind of established that as a possible precedent, but that's not really... Anyway, since the question is no longer can a video game be considered art, the new question is what makes a video game art? I personally think that it's difficult to pinpoint an exact correct answer since there are so many different schools of thought in regards to the topic, but I'll go off of what my ongoing education and experiences up to this point have led me to conclude. So we'll be approaching this from a conceptual perspective. That basically just means we'll be looking at the intent and execution of the game and how it accomplishes what it's set out to do. Since gaming has only recently been pushed into the art light, I'm going to create a lenient set of guidelines in order to analyze these games. The initial requirement for me to even begin inspecting the game would be for it to have some sort of conceptual depth. That means it needs to be more than just an experience game, or as I call it, a junk food game. You know the kind of game where you play it for the basic gameplay and nothing else? Sure, there's a basic story and goal, but there's no real depth or drive aside from just beating the game or shooting everybody to get the highest score and whatnot. Now, there's nothing wrong with those kinds of games, but they don't serve the purpose of this segment. We're looking more for healthy food games, the type of games that you play and make you feel like you took something positive away from it. Think games that feature a compelling story or emotionally gripping moments. Which brings us to the list of traits we're looking for. For this segment, we want games that feature one or more of the following. 1. Something emotionally gripping or thought-provoking. That could mean an incredibly deep and interesting storyline that takes you on an emotional roller coaster ride, a game that leaves you with questions about life and the world around you, or a game that is able to tug on your heartstrings to the point they might break. Interpret that as you will. 2. Something that utilizes its gaming platform in unexpected ways or interesting ways. Games like One Chance and Devil's Tuning Forks are great examples, since Devil's Tuning Fork uses the visual mechanics of a gameplay to represent sound to help the player get around, and One Chance uses the memory of your computer to literally only give you one chance and then to make you cry all over forever. 3. Something that discusses the human condition. The human condition encompasses the unique features of being human, particularly the ultimate concerns of human existence. It can be described as the unalterable part of humanity that is inherent and innate to human beings, and not dependent on factors such as race, culture, or class. It includes concerns such as the meaning of life, the search for gratification, the sense of curiosity, the inevitability of isolation, and the awareness of the inescapability of death. In essence, the human condition is the self-aware and reflective nature of Homo sapiens that allows for analysis of existential themes. I might have used the Wikipedia definition, but I couldn't think of how to describe it. Don't judge me. In any case, this is basically anything that highlights what it means to be human and explores it. Things like mortality, love, and the pursuit of happiness would fall under this category. I like to think a lot of games involving choices and their inescapable consequences fall under this, like The Walking Dead, The Wolf Among Us, Heavy Rain, One Chance. And finally, something that is original and or unique in certain or all aspects. This one is a little difficult since, every story that could be has been already told and all that crap. But in a gaming sense, there's a lot of unexplored territory, especially since technology is still rapidly evolving. I mean, we get new console gens every few years that take you from Pong to The Last of Us in a few updates. This also applies to older games, the kind that started the craze over any kind of new mechanic. So basically, not something that's constantly rehashed simply for the sake of rehashing. And there you go, the basic rundown of future ThinkGaming segments. Now that you know what to expect, please feel free to shoot me some suggestions for the channel. I'm really eager to start conversations about this with all of you and to hear what you think about the idea of what makes a video game art. As a final note before I go, I want to add that this channel is going to evolve around the conversations that we, meaning you, the viewer, and I, the content provider, have. If you have suggestions for what you think makes a video game art, or if you disagree with mine, let me know. If there are future episodes that just irk you, drop a comment and I'll reply. The point of this channel isn't just to be watched, it's to start an open and inviting conversation about more than just video games. It's about our culture, it's about your perspective on the world we live in. Future segments I may make are going to involve conversations and thoughts that you all have just as much as this one will. I've learned from watching other YouTubers that the most effective way to learn about anything is to put yourself out there and ask the questions. So here I am, putting myself out there and asking the questions. I want to talk to all of you. You're all a part of this world and therefore contribute to the way it is. I want to hear what you think of it. I want to hear what you think of it and how you perceive it. Your thoughts and actions matter, and I want to make that incredibly clear. Anyway, thank you all for inviting me into your homes, computers, laptops, microwaves, smartphones, and TVs. I look forward to our future conversations and to hear what you all think. Thanks for watching, and until then, I'll see you guys later. Actually, I lied. One last thing. All this stuff was actually pre-written, and this is actually just going to be me spouting random crap because I forgot to mention. I'm going to be doing Let's Plays, and I'm going to be doing Let's Plays on the games that I'm interested in examining. So if you guys have any suggestions whatsoever, particularly indie games that no one might have heard of, just because I like the idea of promoting people who don't have enough promotion. Anyway, look forward to that in the future, and thank you all again for watching. I'll see you later.